and welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to do something a little different. Typically, I do say intentions ATC flights, but in this flight, we're going to do a little short hop in the recently updated PC-12 from SWS. We're in Hay River, Canada. We're going to the west to Fort Province. It's a flight that Buffalo does in real life, I believe. I think they still do. So that'd be a really fun short little hop to do in the PC-12. So let's get jumping into that PC-12. Got the avionics already on in this aircraft. Again, no ATC in this one. We're just gonna kind of have a good time, little short hop. And so I'm gonna switch this over to the GPS, and here we are in Hay River. Everything's pretty much default in this setup I have right now for this flight. Just a little short, fun hop, like I said.
EGPWS.
Kind of see what kind of trouble we get into.
System OK.
And go down here, and we're gonna give it a little bit of brightness because it's a little dim. And let's see, dome. I don't need that. Floodlight. It's a little bright, so we'll just turn that off. And we'll go to nav here. All right, we're gonna switch this over to ECS Auto. And everything else is good. I can never figure out how to get the dang pusher to work in this plane, so we're going to do without it on this flight. And I'm going to bring down the avionics for this dude because it's pretty bright there. I'm going to try to. It's like really sensitive to do it. Okay, that's better. Okay, I think we're ready to get this engine started. So, we're going to go ahead and look down here a little bit. All's looking great. And I'm going to go ahead and use my Honeycomb Bravo to put this in the starting position. Upon doing so, I'm going to watch up here for NG. Once it hits to about 20, I'll go ahead and introduce some fuel. And now we have the low idle. Engine's coming alive. This is a really fun aircraft. Like I said, they had the update happen recently. And it fixed quite a few things. One of the big things it fixed was the yawing issue in the sky. Alright, we're going to bring those taxi lights on, release the parking brakes, and we're going to get rolling just like that. They did fix some of that ground handling as well, so it's not as difficult to turn. You still need to use some differential braking, which apparently is how real life is. In this airport, I believe we do have the back taxi if we're going to exit. Let's see. Yes, we do have the back taxi on here. So while we're taxiing, we're going to bring down flaps to 15, clear out that warning. The wind is coming out of the south, so we're going to depart towards the south and then do a 180. All looking clear there, all clear here. Beautiful. I liked the plane when it initially came out. I thought it was fine. There definitely was some issues with it, but I overall had a good time with it. My biggest issue was the landing. The yawing is just so awful sometimes. It was very difficult to get a nice, smooth, centerline landing. I'd say it happened 5 out of 10 times for me. It's just very difficult to manage. And in a sim where you don't have anything physically to feel the plane, you're all going off gauges and your visual, I feel it's tougher. So I'm glad they did tone that down a bit. I've done 3 landings now since the update, and all have been pretty darn good on the center line. A little off, but significantly better than in the past. So I'll count that as a win in my book. Ground handling is improved as well. feel it could be a little bit better, but I'm no real pilot at all, and I obviously don't know the PC-12, so it's taking that from a sim pilot. I think we were all a little bit spoiled with the Coronado PC-12 that came out. It wasn't a great plane, but the physics felt more like a sim plane. And of course, this plane blows it away in most categories. Visually, it's beautiful, sounds are great. Alright, here we are on the center line. We had a ding there. Let me see what that ding's all about. Oh, they don't have a panel there. Anti-ice. Okay. And let's get rolling. So let's go bring up our full power. And bring up some throttle. And let's get going. The other thing that seems to have been adjusted is the performance on the ground. Sorry, for takeoff. It does seem like it needs a little bit more runway. It's not as aggressive like a rocket. So typically I would pull back about now. I'm pulling back a little bit later so we don't stall out. Alright, looking good. And let's go ahead and bring that gear up. Now I'm going to start adjusting my trim. Now if this is your first time ever seeing the PC-12, one thing to keep in mind is that the trim is slow in this plane. And that's true to real life, so not much of an issue with that. Alright, so we'll go ahead and start swinging over to the right. We're past 130. So I'm going to go ahead and bring up my flaps, gain a little bit more speed. And I'm going to go ahead and say let's go up to 6,000. I initially wasn't going to do 4,000, but it is about 60 nautical miles worth of a flight. And nice little curve here just to get on to the navigation GPS. I'm going to go ahead and also adjust my heading mode. And I do have yaw damper currently on. So from my understanding, as soon as you get off the ground, go ahead and enable yaw damper, and as soon as you're on final and you get your plane all set up for the arrival, you can turn off the yaw damper. Alright, looking pretty good here, getting on the GPS path. Climb's looking pretty good as well. Alright, so with the altitude climb here, so you can click on this little button and this little button. And then, there we go, click on that button to arm it. Now if you click on this button, a lot of button clicking, you can adjust how aggressive the VS is. So I'm going to go ahead and put 2,000. And I'm going to also now enable the AP, and we're going to click on nav. So in theory, which we just did, we intercepted the navigation for the GPS, climbing at 2,000 for the VS, up to 6,000 feet. There's our warning that we're 1,000 feet from our cruising altitude at 6,000. And zoom out the map here. And just like that, we're at our 6,000 feet. We're climbing up to, what, 200 knots or so. PC-12 is not the fastest plane out there, not the slowest either. It's definitely no Duke, that's for sure. But it's a pleasure to hand fly, it's a pleasure to fly. Obviously visually it looks fantastic. Alright, now we're passing our 200 knots. Take a look on the outside. It's a beautiful plane. It is a very beautiful plane. So I'm going to give you some tips here before we get into even close to landing. The biggest thing is in a lot of planes, people look at the nose here, and they use the center line of the nose to guide them in for the landing. In the PC-12, at least in the sim, I found that to be a very bad thing to do. Because if you follow that nose is not always going to be center. At least it doesn't look center while you're coming in for the approach. So I aim right here. This little Pilatus label, that's going to be my center. That's how I look for center. And I believe based on the angle, I know it doesn't make sense here, but at the angle, I believe it's center. If you look on the outside here. So the little sticker is about right there. But if you put it at an angle, it's about right in the center line, right? Because here's the propeller. So anyways, that's what I use, and it seems to work pretty decently. The other thing is the plane is very nose down on arrival. So you're going to look like you're pointed pretty low, but you're actually not dropping as far down as you may have. Or you may think you are. So that's a big thing to keep in mind. The other thing is the power management. Keep a really tight eye on your airspeed, because it's very easy to come in too hot with the PC-12. So you want to make sure, from my understanding, this was pre-patch. I'm not sure if it's been adjusted yet, but you want to come in for the landing at about 80 knots. And then once you're over the piano keys, you bring the power back. And I am not a great PC-12 lander. There's no doubt I am not. I tend to be a pretty rocky, bouncing back and forth. So we're going to see how this works out. But typically, I am not the greatest, smoothest PC-12 pilot. It'd be great for this video if I actually nailed it, right? But it's probably not going to happen. It's probably not going to happen. Go ahead and just fast forward the video, and we'll get you once we're on the approach. Okay, now we're going to start our approach here into Fort Providence. So I do have the visual probed into the PMS here. So we're going to go ahead and swing on over to the southwest a little bit. See if we can get better in line for the actual runway itself. And let's go to heading mode. We're also going to start our descent. So to do that, we need to start our initial where we want to go. So in this case, we want to be on at 1400 on final. And let's see. So we got that in there. And if we pull this, we can set our descent rate. We're going to go ahead and go to ARM, BS. Wait a second, because it likes to switch back over, and then we'll start our descent here. So we're going to drop down at about 1,500 feet, bring back the power, and it looks pretty good to me based on the map here. So final looks to be about right around there anyways, so that's looking pretty darn good on the approach here, or at least our glide slope for the arrival. And bring back the power quite a bit here. Going a little fast. Like I said earlier, it's really easy to come in really hot in this plane. And I don't remember if the airport. I think the airport's on the. I don't think that's it there, but maybe it is. Okay, yeah, that is probably it. I thought it was on the left side of the river, but it's been a while, so yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the airport there. Okay, so we can actually bring the V-speed, or sorry, the vertical speed up a little bit. This will help with our speed. Alright, 1,000 looks pretty good on the descent rate here. Okay, so about 9 nautical miles from the final approach here. And runway 3, is it 3-2? Yeah, visual 3-2. Go ahead and start swinging over back to the right and get us lined up. No, you know what? I don't think that's the airport. This is supposed to be a dirt. I'm pretty sure this is like a dirt airport. Dirt runway. No, I think that's a different airport. I think we're right here. Okay, so everything looking pretty darn good here. We're a little lower than I want to be at this point, but nothing terrible. Bring it up just a little bit if we wanted to. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is our strip there. Alright, speed's coming down. Altitude's looking decent. There's our 1,000 warning call. Or sorry, that's our actual altitude call. Alright, at this point, we're going to go ahead and disable AP. You're going to hear the big old buzz there. And we're going to go and also turn off the flight director. Altitude hold. Heard this blinking thing. Bring back our power some more. And we're going to aim for this little spot there. Pretty sure that's where we're going. That's where we're going to land anyways. When in doubt, just land.
Terrain.
Alright, flaps coming down. We are a little fast for the flaps.
Terrain.
And yaw damper's also off. Gear coming down. Definitely really hot on this approach. Okay, now we're in the safe zone with our flaps, so that's pretty good. And I'm continuing to adjust the trim for the nose. Looking good. Speed's much better. And I'm gonna do a 30 flaps. I know you're typically supposed to do a full 40. This landing, you know what? I'm gonna do 30. Bring up a little bit more speed so we don't stall out of the sky. Welcome to the middle of nowhere, Canada, which I think is a lot of Canada. No offense to Canada, it's just huge and there's a whole lot of nothing. Like a lot of states in the US. Alright, here we go. I'm not sure what that is. Bring back the throttle. And let's see if I can not be so impressive. There we go, look at that. That was for a good landing here in the PC-12 on a video. That was pretty decent. Who knows what the landing rate is. Alright. Well, welcome to Fort Province, Canada. The beautifully recently updated PC-12. Alright, so at this point, let's bring up our flaps. I think I saw some buildings around the corner here, so that's where we're going to go. I'm going to go in the grass a little bit too, apparently. Alright, we're technically off the runway. We're in a little bit of grass. It's the low grass, it's the cut grass, right? Look at this, this is higher over here. That's fine. Alright, that's a cool little flight. So like I said, the PC-12, the update, I definitely like it. The handling's much improved in my opinion. Ground handling's better. I feel it could be a little bit more tweaked, so it's not as difficult. I know they're trying to aim for that real life stuff, but in the sim it's sometimes difficult to really get that full real life experience that I think some pilots complain about. Real pilots who are flying the sim stuff. But outside that, I think it's a great update, And I do know they're doing some more work to it, but so far what I'm seeing, it's much improved and a joy to fly. Thanks for watching this video. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.